Hi everyone, we're doing something a little different today. It's Black Friday, and to celebrate, we'll be going over 2 boxes we got during Circle B Diecast's Black Friday sale. This video is not sponsored by Circle B Diecast or any other store in particular. It's just going to be a quick overview of what we got. They have some fantastically steep discounts every year, the best I've seen from any major storefront online. Thanks Circle B for continuing to be an awesome source for NASCAR Diecast fans. So I will not review each car in depth, but I will show you what I got for Black Friday. Let's check out the first box. First car, 2021 Denny Hamlin, FedEx Ground Toyota Camry. Very traditional FedEx scheme. This is the scheme I most think about when thinking of Hamlin. We'll put the car here. Next car is another 2021 Denny Hamlin FedEx car. This time it's FedEx Freight. We'll put that one right here. Next car is Daniel Suarez's peak Toyota Camry from 2018 when he raced with Joe Gibbs Racing. A nice blue color. Man, 3 Camrys in a row. Let's see what we got next in this box. We have David Reagan. Remember when he raced for Front Row Motorsports? This is a very not so great freight auction scheme that to me is really unappealing. It's a 2018 Ford Fusion. Sort of makes me think of A&W colors, except they did it much better. Let's go to the next car here. We have a Nationwide Ricky Stenhouse car. Crazy to think that Nationwide went from Hendrick Motorsports to Roush Fenway here in this 2014 scheme. I love this scheme. Really nice colors. I wish this scheme would have still stuck around. Up next, we have a 2017 Ford Fusion driven by Kevin Harvick. It's his Busch Beer scheme. Looks pretty good. I like the graphics. We'll put it here. Here is the 2021 Austin Cindric Ford Mustang with Verizon as the sponsor. He drove this car in the Cup Series part-time as he was still racing in the Xfinity Series at this time. Up next is a 2019 Kevin Harvick Busch Light Ford Mustang. We'll stick that one right here. Here is Casey Kane's Aquafina scheme from 2015 when he drove for Hendrick Motorsports. I never think of Kane as being a Hendrick driver. I always think of him only from his Evernham years. Not big on this scheme, but it is unique. It'll keep you hydrated. Here we have a 2020 Rush Truck Centers Ford Mustang driven by Clint Boyer in his final year of the Cup season. Stewart-Haas Racing was still a good team at this time. Not personally a huge fan of this scheme. I think Rush Truck Centers could totally do something better than this, but they certainly didn't. We're filling up our background here. Next, we have Brad Keselowski's 2021 Money Lion scheme on his Penske Ford Mustang. We'll stick him right there. I like this one. Here's the throwback scheme to Dale Earnhardt's Wrangler Chevy days. Only this one's driven by Ryan Newman on his 2017 Caterpillar Chevy SS with Richard Childress Racing. Great throwback. Alright, that was our first 12. Up next is William Byron's 2020 Liberty University scheme. Sort of a classic scheme now with how many years Liberty has been using this red, white, and blue with the flames. I really like it, and they continually improve on it, or at least stay stable with it. It looks good. We got some more Brad with this 2018 Miller Lite White Ford Fusion. Classic scheme. I miss when Miller Lite sponsored Brad for the majority of the season, especially when he had that blue deuce, but this is a nice basic scheme as well. Can't go wrong with it. Here is a classic Wood Brothers scheme. Matt DiBenedetto drove this in 2021. It's his Motorcraft Ford Mustang. We'll stick it right here. How about a 2021 AAA Insurance Ford Mustang by Joey Logano? You know, looking back, this is actually a pretty classic scheme now. Classic Penske. I like it. Looks good. Time for a 2014 Bass Pro Shops Chevy SS. Here driven by Tony Stewart. 2014, it was not a good year for Stewart. I believe he finished 25th in points. He was definitely at the back end of his career, but the car looks good. And here's a really good looking metallic scheme. Oh man, this is Austin Dillon's American Ethanol Chevy Camaro from 2018. It was a Darlington special scheme, and I think they should have raced this scheme far more than they did. It deserved more than one race. Really nice, I love that. Here is Brad Keselowski's Auto Trader Ford, and I can see visual damage there on the door. Haha. Oh well, we'll throw this 2021 Mustang here, and it was only $1.50 anyways. Here is another Ryan Newman car, this time his Granger scheme from 2016. Now, I don't know about you, but I always associate Granger with Greg Biffle, but I guess technically Newman had Granger longer in Cup than Biffle did. That kind of blows my mind. Back to Brad with a simple all-yellow Alliance truck part scheme. This Ford Fusion is from 2014. Here's a cool throwback scheme driven by Trevor Bain. A 2017 Ford Fusion raced at Darlington with this cool blue Advocare throwback scheme. It was a throwback to Mark Martin's car from 1988 and 1989. I remember that scheme. I wasn't alive then, but it's pretty well known. He finished terribly though, unfortunately, way back in 35th with this race. Here's a patriotic Mobil 1 scheme driven by Tony Stewart in 2014. Here's a good one, and oddly quite valuable today. It's Joey Logano's classic Shell Pennzoil scheme on his 2021 Ford Mustang. Not sure why this one holds value, but it really seems to, and they're hard to find, so I'm really glad I found this, and I'm glad Circle B had it at a good price. Here is a tasty scheme. Regan Smith's nationwide Breyers Camaro from back in 2014 reminds me a lot of the Jeffrey Earnhardt scheme we reviewed earlier on this channel. And here's a classic, a 2002 Bobby Labonte Interstate Batteries Pontiac Grand Prix. Love that green. How can you not love this classic Interstate green? Love these cars. And let's follow that up with this 2000 Tony Stewart Home Depot Pontiac. I loved it when Labonte and Stewart had such colorful cars on track. The green and orange Pontiacs were iconic in their own right. Just a really cool era of NASCAR. And how about next we pull out this Mountain Dew old school scheme driven by none other than Dale Jr. in 2008. So I guess that would make this a Chevy Impala car of tomorrow. That's pretty cool. Really nice scheme. Love the retro vibes I get from it. And I like this one. It's the I Love Mac and Cheese 2021 Chevy Silverado driven by Bobby Rius for Jordan Anderson Racing. I'm sure there's a lot of story behind this scheme I don't know about, but I mean, come on, it's a truck that has macaroni and cheese on it. That's pretty crazy. Here's a Bass Pro Shops / Ducks Unlimited scheme driven by Tony Stewart in 2016. I've really grown on this scheme. I never used to like all these camo schemes, but I really like this one. I don't know why. It's good. I like it. Here is an Xfinity car driven by Darrell Wallace Jr. back before his name somehow changed to Bubba Wallace. I guess it was by fans. Anyways, it was sponsored by Ford, and it's a good-looking scheme. Here is Ryan Blaney's ride before he got the Penske number 12. He drove this Wood Brothers 21 car. Anybody remember Brian Scott? This was his Rain-X nationwide scheme that he raced with for RCR back in 2013. Pretty uncommon car here, and it goes for a good price online. I think it was the only one available, and I got it, so I'm really happy to get that. Here is Ty Dillon's 2015 Xfinity Series Bass Pro Shops Camaro. Back when he drove for RCR, he had some very solid years in that 3-car. Again, very traditional Bass Pro Shops scheme. And here's another uncommon one, Joey Logano's 2020 Shell throwback from Darlington. This was his throwback to Bobby Allison's car in, I think, 1985 or something like that, somewhere around there. If you find this car ever, I would recommend grabbing it if it's for a good price. But yeah, this car's worth a lot online, and they're pretty hard to find, so cool. I'm glad I finally got one. All right, let's open up our second box and see what's inside. Starting us off, we got this NASCAR Authentics raced version of an ARCA West car driven by Haley Deegan. She raced this car at the Napa Auto Parts Idaho 208 and won. This is a pretty uncommon car, and it's her first win, I believe. This is from 2018. It's pretty cool. So, when you collect diecast, you can kind of tell a history with drivers, and yeah, it's cool. ARCA West. How often are ARCA West cars made? Here is a toter Ford F-150 from 2021. Speaking of storylines, this is Hailie Deegan's truck when she moved up in 2021 to the Camping World Truck Series. She drove for David Gilliland Racing for a few seasons. Remember when Mark Martin drove out the rest of his career at Hendrick Motorsports? Well, here's his 2010 CarQuest Chevy Impala. It's actually kind of difficult to find Mark Martin cars from his Hendrick years. And if you do find them, they cost a lot. So this one is usually on the cheaper end of them, and I was glad to get it. This one gives me early 2000s vibes, which is clearly the point of this scheme. I love this. It's Michael Annette's 2020 Oreo Cookies throwback scheme, which he raced at Darlington. He came in a solid 8th place. I mean, Annette was kind of always in the mix, but never really thought about that much. Solid driver, honestly. Great scheme. Speaking of always in the mix, Elliott Sadler during his time in the Xfinity series. I mean, here is his 2015 One Main Financial Ford Mustang when he had his stint at Roush Racing, which this was only for 1 year, but he finished 6th in points. It was oddly kind of his down year, because he improved to 2nd in points, several times after that. So anyways, cool to have this and continue to tell the story of Sadler. We'll place him here. J.J. Yaley will win one day. This is his Arrowhead Brass Chevrolet from Rick Ware Racing. This one has a metal chassis. It's a 2021 car. It's cool to have. I don't think I have any modern J.J. Yaley cars, so neat. Here we got another Deegan car. This time it's her 2021 Craftsman Ford F-150. I really love this Craftsman scheme. It's hard to mess up a Craftsman scheme. And oddly, this one's not that easy to find anymore. So the fact that it was on sale for so cheap at Circle B, that's pretty cool. And another truck, this time it's Ross Chastain's Plan B Sales Chevy Silverado from 2020. How fitting, a Circle B Diecast truck in a video featuring cars bought from a Circle B Diecast Black Friday sale. Right on. Here is another Nice Motorsports truck from 2020, which is listed as no driver, but I think it was driven by Travis Pastrana or Ross Chastain or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look that up. It's a fine scheme, I guess. Here is Danica Patrick's 2016 Tax Act Chevy SS. She actually tied her best career ever points finish in 2016, a position of 24th, though oddly, she did it with not a single top 10 finish all season. So there's a little bit of history with that car. Back to Tony Stewart with his 2013 Bass Pro Shops Chevy SS in the orange variant. There's also apparently a black variant, which I think is coming up soon. Here's BJ McLeod's Gatorland Ford Mustang from 2021. This car used to be easy to find, but now it's becoming really hard to get. I bet this one will see a price jump up eventually. Gatorland is an attraction in Florida, so this is like hyper local. So just kind of funny to see a hyper local brand being advertised on a national car. And here we go, back to Tony Stewart, and this time it's his 2013 black variant of the Bass Pro Shops car I just mentioned a few back. Up next is a 2021 Kyle Busch Interstate Batteries Camry with a very vibrant green. I like this green, but you know what? The Bobby Labonte one I showed earlier, that's still my jam. This one just isn't the same. Here's a neat one for some fans, a 2013 Dollar General Matt Kenseth car when he raced for Joe Gibbs Racing. I would imagine that this one will grow in value over time because of its novelty with Kenseth being at JGR. Maybe it wasn't his best stint of his career, but I don't see these cars that often, and the fact that it was at Circle B, I don't know how many there were, but I got one for a decent price. It was okay. Back to Nice with this nice Ryan Truex Plan B Sales 2020 Silverado. Here is a 2013 Bass Pro Shop Chevy SS driven by none other than Jamie McMurray for Chip Ganassi, and it's a white variant, which is kind of cool. Here's a neat one, Jimmy Johnson's 2014 Chevy SS with a racing stripes design for Lowe's and the Chase for the Cup yellow badging on the windshield. This is a good looking car right here, and it was darn cheap. Here's another classic. This is Jimmy Johnson's final scheme he had with Ally before ending his racing career in 2020. This one hits hard for Johnson fans as this was the last car he ever drove. Well, until he started doing some part-time races with his new project team, Legacy Motor Club. But at the time, that was his last car. I guess you could say his last for Hendrick. Remember how we started this video with 2 Denny Hamlin cars? Well, here's another car by Dennis, but a much older FedEx scheme from 2017, back when the base was purple and not white. And before the purple, I believe the cars were black, remember that? Here's an awesome scheme. I love this black and gold test car for Legacy Motor Club. This is a stellar looking car. 2023 was the last year they drove with Chevy before switching to Toyota and the team becoming a complete disaster before our eyes. There was so much promise early on. And the very last car in the box is this Bass Pro Shops Black Rifle Coffee Noah Gregson Camaro. This is a good looking scheme that has really grown on me over the years. I liked how Gregson had this style paint scheme when he moved to Cup with SHR in 2024. So that's the entirety of my Black Friday haul from Circle B Diecast. What an awesome deal. Cars were as cheap as $1.50, with the most expensive one being $12 for the few very, very rare ones I mentioned. Free shipping, and with a membership discount, I mean, it's real cheap. You can't go wrong. In total here, there were way too many cars. I think we just went through 57 cars. My math might be wrong. If you got some cool stuff on Black Friday, such as new cars or, whatever, let me know in the comments. I love reading comments and hearing about your collections. This whole channel is for all of us to thrive and grow together and just have a good time. This sale certainly gave us a ton of material to talk about in the future. I hope you all have a fantastic Thanksgiving and a great Black Friday. This is AJ, and I will catch you in the next video. Can't wait to see ya, and I'll talk to you then. Adios.